Brian Fullerton. I run a YouTube channel called Parents Law Maintenance and a laundry company in Michigan called Parents Law Maintenance. And we do a little bit on social media. And honestly, that's all I do, guys. You guys are my friends. Thank you so much for coming on today to Energize. You guys excited about today's event?
Let's go.
It's going to be good. I actually have one of the easier parts, I feel, because I'm just emceeing. And Evan came to us with a quip and said, hey, you want to do this whole event? And I said, yeah, I'm not really the public speaking guy. Anybody like public speaking? I get some lights out there, but raise your hands if you're a public speaking person. You like talking to people. Okay, we got like 1, 2, 3. So 3 serial killers in the room today. Just having fun, but I didn't get started doing YouTube or social media to talk to anybody. I just wanted to review a couple products. So by the way, the people that are coming up to share today, they're not public speakers either. Okay, they're just lawn care guys, just like you guys. Is that cool? Nobody's going to sell you anything. Nobody's going to sell you on anything. But what we are here to do today is help you guys grow. Maybe just give you a couple tips, pieces of advice or suggestions that work for us. These guys come out of stage, they have great businesses. They have decades in the industry, and they're some of the smartest people I know. And here's another thing. They're some of the most genuine people I know as well. These guys are here to help you grow. Nobody's getting paid for any of this, okay? They're volunteering their time. So when these guys come on up, I want you guys to get a huge round of applause for them, right? Is that good?
Let's go.
So let's start bringing them up. Really quick, we got another man, Paul, James, say, come on, Paul.
Thanks, bud.
And then, of course, we got the man, the legend, Mike Andes. Come on. This thing today. These guys are going to be getting asked all hardball questions. How you guys all doing? You guys all got microphones?
Fantastic.
Mic check. There you go. All right.
We have sitting in the wrong seat.
Where are we sitting? Why are we in the wrong seat? Blake?
No microphone. But we're good now. We're good.
Oh, we just came here for Paul and Mike anyway, so. Everybody, Blake always wants a shout out, so here's your shout out today.
I get it. Finally.
By the way, like, really quick, who put this together? I can't see. I feel like I don't know what a deer looks like. Yeah, there he is back there. We put this together because Mike Andes and I were making fun of this thing. Like, Paul looks perfect. Like, look at that smile. Like, it's thoughtful. He's an eligible bachelor. He's rich. He's single ladies out there. Blake Albertson looking fresh. And then, how white can I be? This is the whitest photo I ever took in my life.
The camera never lies.
What's that?
The camera never lies.
I know, right? Like, somebody could use Photoshop and just tinted it a little bit. That was in March in Florida before our season started. And then Mike Andes, first off, you're giving me crap. You had to use like a little stool to get into the frame.
I actually feel very discriminated. I don't get my booster seat up here.
Alright, so it's going to be like that all day, right? So we're all buds. It's going to be cool. We're going to rip that a little bit. But really quick, before we get too far into it, Evan, thank you for just taking a chance on us crazy people to let us put this whole thing on with you. Super appreciate that. Here's what I'll tell you guys. The inmates are in charge of the prison. Alright, so nothing is going to be super formal. If you got questions, yell it out. If we got a Q&A kind of thing coming up, yell it out. Alright, let's just hang loose, have some fun. We got 54 minutes, and we're going to keep it moving. Alright, so real quick, before we jump into it, give me like a 90-second background on who you guys are, what your business looks like, where you're from, and in case there's some new people out here that don't know yet. So, Paul, you're up first. What do you got, buddy?
Yeah, I started a lawn care business in a 1997 Honda Accord, rusty, raggedy, back in 2011. And it was way before Brian's Lawn Maintenance and social media and YouTube, so I made a whole bunch of mistakes along the way. Eventually in 2018, I started a podcast, shared my business story on the Green Industry Podcast, and that's been really growing. I put out one new podcast episode every day, talking about how to take a lawn care business to the next level.
Awesome, man. And millions and millions of downloads later, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Helping a lot of people out. Who's listening to the Green Industry Podcast? Yeah, there we go. Awesome. Blake Albertson.
Hey, Blake Albertson, B&B Lawn Care. Started my business about 11 years ago. Kansas City, Missouri. Just with the family lawnmower, driving around the neighborhood. Trimmer, blower down here, trimmer to the side. Before truck trailer, and then just kept reinvesting in my business. Eventually bought trailer, kept upgrading, kept moving our service area a little bit, and trying to crush it in Kansas City. And then Started YouTube, that really helped spread our word online. And here we are today. Just like, seems like a flash in the eyes, but 11, 12 years later.
Who's ever watched the BB lawn care video?
Let's go.
A lot of those of you heard BB lawn care videos.
Oi, 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 oi!
Some of the best stripe videos, past, present, and hopefully future, man. So keep it going. Seriously, like I got started on YouTube because of you.
That's crazy to me.
I love watching your videos. That's why I love a snot out of it the first time I met you. I quit last 5-6 years ago. So it's funny how it comes full circle, man.
Yeah, we've all heard that story, right?
We'll be best friends forever, man. All right, Mike Hayes. How you doing, buddy?
Good.
You doing good?
Yeah, so I started my business mowing lawns when I was 11, and I thought I was going to become a doctor, so I started college when I was really young. I was 13 years old, and mowed my way through college, basically paying for my undergrad. Dropped out of medical school, got my MBA at night, and started Augusta Lawn Care. And thanks to my team over there, we now have about 100 franchise locations around North America. And then we have a whole bunch of other stuff, lawn care bookkeeper, lawn care web design. Just do a bunch of stuff in the industry trying to help everyone out.
Awesome, man. Where's the Augusta team at, by the way? I heard earlier. Awesome. Thanks for coming out. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to stand here. Like, I like to stand. If you guys want to sit or stand, I'll go back and forth. I'm crazy, so work with me. But before we jump into it, here's what we wanted to do. We talk about, it doesn't matter if you've been in business for a day, a week, a month, or a decade or 2 decades. Who understands right now that the world's changing? Right? The economy's changing, talks about recession, depression. There's good cycles, there's bad cycles. Paul, you stick around long enough, you kind of go through a little bit of everything, right? Entrepreneurship is wild. A friend of mine, his name is Jeff Joyner, came to speak at one of our events. He's got a good line, and I borrow it, but I gotta give him the credit. He said, entrepreneurship is like a roller coaster. He goes, there's ups, there's downs, there's lefts, there's rights, there's loop-de-loops. He said, but here's the deal. The only people that get hurt on a roller coaster are the ones who jump off. That's entrepreneurship, okay? So we've all been, who's ever been through some loop-de-loops, some roller coaster rides here with your business over the last couple of years? Yeah, it's been a wild couple of years with COVID. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about some relevant topics, getting customers, keeping customers, how to upsell customers, cross-sell customers, build relationships. These are some of the best in the industry that I know that also know how to communicate effectively to help you guys grow. So if you have a phone, maybe bring it on your phone really quick, or put your notepad, take some notes, all right? We're going to entertain, we're going to have fun, but we're going to learn a little bit today too. All right, before we do, I forgot about this.
Money.
We got some money. Company to bank. By the way, thank you to those guys for sponsoring this event. We have some gift cards to give away. Here's the first one I want to give away really quick. Is who has drove the farthest to get to Quick Expo this year? How far are we here, brother? 13 hours. 13 hours. Anybody more than 13
Depends how fast you drive.
Over here in the corner. 15 hours. That's pretty good. Wow. So we're going to give you 25. Anybody more? Go once. Go twice. Look at this guy. Big round of applause. 15 hours.
Whip it. Just throw it.
Yeah, throw it at him. I don't know if that's that good. Assistant. That's yeah. Paul, my assistant. Paul. That's pretty dope. Who is their first Equip Expo? Get out of Equip at your first Expo.
Whoa, that's a lot of people new.
That's how I'm throwing this. See that? I'm a right-handed guy. I can throw a ball over that mountain, right? No pulling dynamite. Nobody. All right, cool. Any ladies in the audience? There you go. That's for bearing with all of us men who are Neanderthals. Okay, so well, welcome to the show. It's like 100-1 for the guy-girl ratio here. So we gotta show some love to the ladies. All right, let's jump into it. Here's our first topic, and we're gonna do a little round robin here. We're good on time? I think we're pretty good on time. All right, let's rock and roll. So here's what I want to do. I want to pick you guys' brains. We titled this little topic here, 6 little-known secrets new lawn care business owners need to know. And it doesn't matter if you've been in it for a day, a week, a month, or a year, but this is all helpful stuff. So the first thing I want to talk about is your best tip for getting customers and acquiring customers. So we're going to do a little round robin, kind of go down the line. So getting customers and acquiring customers. Paul, what's working out there for you, brother?
Well, it's the World Wide Web. It's called Google. It's the number 1 search engine in the world, and it's free to be on Google. You apply to it, they'll send you a little code in the mail. You get on Google My Business, you can put your pictures, your company's information on the biggest search engine in the world, and I think it's underutilized. A lot of companies don't have excellent pictures and fully maximizing what Google offers for free. So I think you at least start there. There's many others you will mention, but you definitely want to make sure you're on the number 1 search engine in the world, Google.
Also, Google My Business listing, and it's free to do. Who's got a Google My Business listing? That's like 75-80% of the room. Who doesn't have a Google My Business listing? It's okay. Okay, so write that down. Take a quick note. This weekend when you get home, tweak that little thing in your business. It'll start paying dividends for the rest of your career.
And let me add on to that too. Once you establish that, you want to get reviews on there because Amazon's the biggest store in the world, and they're training us as consumers when you shop, no matter what you buy, you probably psychologically look how many reviews does it have and what ranking is it 1 through 5. So if it's got like 4.6 with 12,000 reviews, psychologically, oh, I trust this product. Well, Amazon's trained shoppers, so when a customer looks up lawn care, they're going to look at how many reviews you have. If you have, raggedy reviews, they're going to think, I don't know if I can trust this company. So you want to beef that up with real reviews as quickly as possible.
That's a great point. Who's ever shopped for a restaurant on Friday night, Saturday night, based on the reviews? Pretty much everybody in the audience. I know we do all the time. And if you got a 3 or 2.5, I don't know about that. Unless it's like a hole-in-the-wall barbecue place, then you're like, let's try it. But anyway, you want to what do you got, brother?
Yeah, and real quick to add on that, make sure you're updating those with like clear, good pictures showing off, your work in a good light because, like you said, it's the first thing that pops up, ahead of everything for your business. For me, I think Facebook, Instagram, Google My Business, I think these are all really good ways to get new customers, but I also think they're a little bit more of a long-term, unless you're like paying for ads. If you're just making a Facebook page, it's kind of more like a long-term getting customers. Something I always say, and I might repeat this today, but it's taking care of Susie. And I always use that as an example, and what I mean is when you do have that customer, really go above and beyond for them because they will be your best person to spread your business around to their friends, their neighbors. They're out at the pool, the park, and somebody needs lawn care, whatever services you offer. If you've really done your job in taking care of her and giving her a good experience, she will spread your name and you're in. So I always say, focus on the customers you do have and really go above and beyond for them.
Blake, what if you want to take good photos, but you're on the moor all day? How do you take a photo of yourself to have a good quality photo for your Google review? So what's some ideas or solutions? Hiring somebody?
That's why he has kids.
Use a kid? Oh, that's why you have
Maybe one day, but I mean, even get a $10, tripod for your phone off of Amazon, and there's a little timer, like on every iPhone, you just go set it up, and if you want to get it on your, but most of my pictures I just take after we, do the work.
How many of you guys here, let me see the show of hands, forget to take the before photo, but you always take the after photo? That's freaking everybody. I'm a culprit of that too. And where I got into a better habit, let me say a good habit or a better habit is with fall cleanups. We have company policy, we take a photo of the yard when it's finished to always prove we did the leaf cleanup. Because who's ever got a phone call a week later, I'm giving some amens, who's ever got a phone call, a week later, 5 hours later, windstorm blows through, a customer goes, hey, when are you guys coming on out? Yep. Susie, right, you always say, and you're like, our guys were there this morning. And she's like, well, that doesn't look like it, because we go all over the place. So we always take photos when we're done. So by the way, these little habits are things you can establish. If you guys are taking notes, take before photos, take after photos. It's really, really helpful to get to that.
Can I give a quick tip?
Yeah.
Brett, I told him this today. The lens on the camera gets dusty. You're outside, you're working, so wipe it off as frequently as possible so your pictures are as clear.
Yeah, it's not going to look like these two.
Thank you. This is seriously, clean off the lens. I keep a little cloth and keep it fresh.
I bet. That's it.
And I feel like that's also a good segue. Like once you're already taking these pictures, you have a tripod, like you might as well just click record and record you doing the leaf cleanup, and just kind of shows off the quality of work that your company's doing.
We forgot to pay the electric bill. Great tips. Mr. Mike Yankees?
Yeah, I think especially if you're starting out, if you're under, say, $250,000 in annual revenue, the only thing you really want to be tracking is your close ratio. So what percentage of your estimates are actually being won? And if you want to double the size of your business, the fastest way to do it is not necessarily get more leads, is take the leads that you're currently getting and close more of them. So if you're having a 33% close ratio, you can double the size of your business by just making that 66% close ratio. So if you're like, well, how do I determine that? Let's just take the number of estimates that are 1 divided by the total number of estimates that you give out to customers, and that's your close ratio. Focus on that number, track it every single week, every single month, over time, and just focus on the fact that that's 20 or 30%, you're literally leaving 70, 80% of revenue on the table. And one thing we should track is what's our potential revenue versus closed revenue, and that's directly tied to your close ratio.
Let me press you on that one really quick. Give me one quick tip, like low-hanging fruit that these guys can apply in their business to help increase and work on their close ratio.
Call people back the day after. So once you do an estimate, give the customer a call, say, hey, just making sure you got your estimate. Do you have any questions? And then don't let them cop out with like, yeah, I'll look it over and get back to you. Well, I'm right here. Let's go through it. I was with you yesterday. Do you have any questions? Well, what about price? Well, again, you're going to sell yourself on value. Have the confidence to actually push back on that. But calling them back the day after, most of us don't because we just don't have the confidence, and we're afraid of one question, and it is so-and-so can do it cheaper. What about you? Yeah. That's what we're afraid of. And if you have confidence in your product and your value, you'll call them the next day knowing that it is your duty and obligation to make sure they choose you because you're the best provider in your area.
Mike, really quick, I know you know this answer, so I'm going to ask you so like kind of a 202 question here. Talk about customer acquisition costs. A lot of people start a business who came from an employee situation. You're working for somebody or some small business, right, something like that, and now you're an entrepreneur. And as an employee, you're not used to spending money in the business, right? You're used to getting a paycheck. But now you step into entrepreneurship, and then somebody tells you to invest in postcards or yard signs or a vehicle wrap. Right, so talk about customer acquisition and the customer acquisition cost. What I'm trying to say is, investing in your business, it's a good thing. It's something you should, I had to learn this, I didn't know this. It's something I was supposed to be doing if I wanted to grow. So talk about that for a hot minute.
Can I give me 2 minutes?
I'll give you 2 hot minutes.
Okay, so here's a question for you. So if you go out there right now and buy, say, a $12,000 mower, all right? If you buy that today, what impact is it gonna have on your business tomorrow? I'll tell you right now. You're not making a single new customer. You're not making any more revenue by just simply buying the mower. That $12,000, the alternative is what he just talked about, and that is spending that money on acquiring customers. And so who here has about, let's just say, 100 mowing customers or recurring customers on a weekly or bi-weekly basis? About 100, okay? Now, keep your hand up. Can you please yell out what your annual revenue is really quickly? 150, 375, 400,000? 450, 200,000. Okay, so the reason I say that is because if I spent $12,000 on marketing instead of a mower, and I had a $120 customer acquisition cost, I would have acquired 100 customers. And I would have generated a business that's producing between $200,000 and $450,000 in annual revenue. No mower will do that.
Slow down one more time. Say that again. That's super powerful stuff.
You want me to say it again?
No, that was so good. 12 grand on marketing versus 12 grand on a new shiny piece of metal.
So if you take $12,000, you divide it by 100 customers, it's $120 per customer that I have to spend. And when we talk about customer acquisition costs, it's how much do I have to spend on marketing in order to get one customer? So if I have to spend $120 on Facebook ads, Google ads, postcards, every door direct mail, whatever you want to do, but if you know that number of your acquisition cost is, I guarantee you, your return on your investment will be far greater spending on marketing and customer acquisition costs compared to a mower every single day of the week. And so for all the expo people out there, I love you, but that's not what's actually going to move the needle for our businesses. It's going to be customer acquisition cost. It's going to be knowing that number, and that's ultimately what will move your business forward.
That is solid stuff. Who appreciates that? Round of applause if you appreciate that. By the way, next year's panel, Mike won't be here because we're going to have he was great.
Huntington, you got to buy their products. It's massive benefit to your business.
He's got like a Huntington tattoo now, you know. But it's true. Who's ever heard, like, I'm from Detroit, the auto industry. Who's ever heard, like, to sell a $60,000 truck, Chevy and GM spends $1,500 to $5,000 to sell a truck. Right? It's an acquisition cost. You got to market. You got to. So I'm just telling you, if you're new in business or younger, the first year or two, this is new stuff to me. I didn't know. Nobody teaches you this stuff. Besides Mike and great guys like these guys that have YouTube videos, you have to spend a little bit to get a lot back. By the way, if you have this magic slot machine or whatever you call it, right, Mike? And if you put a nickel on the top and dollars come out the bottom, how many nickels you put in the top of that machine? All of them.
That's good.
Amen to that. All right, so be strategic, be thoughtful, don't be wasteful. But a lot of these guys, they got great content out there that can help you dial in those things that Mike was talking about. All right, really quick, we got to change it up really quick. I need a quick question for somebody to give away a $25 gift card. We're going to switch it up. Mike?
What is your customer acquisition cost? First one to say it, go.
$35. Who says 35 over here? Come on up, brother. Give me a $25 gift card. Give him a round of applause. Okay, $65 that good.
Huh?
Is that good or bad?
Fantastic.
Fantastic. All right, I got you right here, brother. We're going to transition. Blake, can you put that thing real quick? Would you mind? Thanks, brother. Paul's my assistant. I'm trying to give him a break.
Is that Marvin?
Marvin, yeah.
Marvin, there you go, really quick. Where are you from? Here you go, I got you, brother.
Marvin Salcedo.
Yes, sir. Did you fly or drive? Oh, blue. That's too far to drive. Go, give this guy a round of applause. All right, we're going to keep rocking and rolling. So we're talking about getting customers, acquiring customers. We're going to talk about customer experience. We're going to go start with Mike and then we're going to go back. So, Mike, this is something I've really come to appreciate about you. A lot of your content focuses on this. Is the difference between, well, here's my question, here's my tee up. You talk about customers and customer experience all the time. Explain to me the difference between a customer and a client. I know you know this one, but
A repeat sale.
help me out with that. Give me the answer. We don't really prepare this.
So yeah, you want me to talk about repeat sales and someone that is a client for the long term versus a customer in the short term. I actually don't, I used to actually really think about clients and customers. And everyone's like, God, call them clients, God, call them clients. I really do not care what you call them. They give me money. And that's all that I care about. And I provide a good service so they keep coming back. And that's to your point, them coming back time and time again. And we talked about, you know, when you're growing your business in terms of knowing what your close ratio is. Well, if you don't know what your attrition rate is, which is how many customers are leaving the back door, that's also going to be the determining factor of how large your business will become before it stops growing. And if you've been at the point where you're at 200, 300, 400,000 in annual revenue, like, man, I just can't get past this, I'm plateauing, there's a really good chance, to your point, you've not turned customers into clients that are staying with you. And you have an attrition rate, which is a percentage of your customers that are leaving every single year, and no matter how many leads you pump into your business, they're leaving out the back door. And that's when customer service comes into play. Are you answering your phone? Do you get back to people on their email? Do you make sure that if there's something that's done wrong on someone's property, you're back to their property within 24 hours? This is basic customer service. It's going to lead to a lower attrition rate.
I love that. Great answer. Blake, what do you got for customer experience? What can these guys do to keep customers, get customers, and keep them happy?
We're going back to Susie. And I really believe it. I really believe in going that extra mile. Answering the phone, like as silly as that sounds, we all know that answer, and then we're busy, we don't do it. You know, like as an industry. The number one thing I get when somebody's calling me, a new customer, they're like, you're the only person that answered the phone. You know, so it's so huge, just little things like that. When they have an issue, I want to figure it out. Even if it takes 20, 30 seconds, even if I don't offer that service, hey, we have a tree in the front yard, I don't do any tree work, I'll send you a buddy of mine that does the tree work. You know, I gave my buddy, him business, but also that customer knows that she can call me with anything in the lawn, and I'll get her an answer right then and there.
There you go.
You know, so even if I can't offer that service, I can still give her an incredible customer experience because she doesn't have to go shopping for 30 minutes on Google, you know, and just keep getting voicemails.
I love it, I love it. Let me ask you this real quick, guys. So if you got a customer in the last 12, 18 months because you were the only one to give them a phone call back, make some noise. That's like 95% of the audience. And so I would say it's a simple business that people complicate. Cutting, making call back short, it's a very simple business. But pick up your phone. And I know, by the way, your phone, where's my like 17 under crowd again? Your phone has this ability to call people. Gabe, talking to you, bud. It can call people. It's wild. Like, and then here's what happens, Gabe. When you call, and you get some numbers, on the other end, this other person gets their phone to ring, and they go, hello, and it's called talking to people. I was messing with Gabe. Gabe does a great job explaining about the business, but here's the point. Pick up the phone, call people. It's not always about text messaging. Now, if you're on the job, I get it. Here's a quick tip for that. Shoot me a quick text message. Hey, guys, a call. Yes, we'll be able to take a look at the work, an estimate, whatever. I'll call you back at 5:30. I'm in the truck and I can give you the time and attention you deserve. But if you're on craft time, you don't have to call those people right back immediately, unless you got a bigger support system to be able to follow up those leads. Paul, what do you got, brother?
I want to share a story that re-emphasizes that point, Brian. I got a phone call from a gentleman. He lives in San Jose, California. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. And he's a CFO of a company that everyone in here has heard of and probably used. And big money. The guy's so rich that he has a vacation home in a fancy country club in Atlanta that he only goes to a few times a year, like when the Masters golf tournament is, and just to come golf. I mean, this guy's big money, okay? So the people that were doing his yard stopped coming for some reason, and his neighbors called him and said, hey, your grass is getting kind of long. So he immediately went to Google, typed in lawn care in Duluth, Georgia, and called the very first person who came up. Voicemail, didn't answer. Calls the second person, voicemail, doesn't answer. Calls me, and I think it was like 949 area code or whatever, and I get all these telemarketers, and I didn't answer. But I was like, I wonder who that's calling from California. So I immediately listened to the voicemail, and he says, hey, this is so-and-so. And I knew the name of the street because I work in the neighborhood. I was like, oh, those are nice houses. I call him back. He tells me the story. You know, the next thing you know, I'm taking care of his property. After I knew his yard, his next door neighbor was the defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons. I ended up picking up his yard. Next thing you know, I'm doing the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, players on the Atlanta Falcons, all because I called somebody back. That two other people had the opportunity to on this big fish, and they didn't return this call. So
Wow.
Was there any correlation between the Atlanta Falcons you mowing their lawn and them butchering the Super Bowl?
well, so
There you go.
I don't know if you can blame me, but my customers were Ricardo Allen and what was the other guy's name? Robert Alford. They had that play on Julian Edelman. Those are my customers, and the defensive coordinator of the Falcons was my customer that year. So that was a painful loss. Then they fired him on Monday.
We can't afford court aeration this year. Sorry, buddy.
Oh, that's good stuff. But that proves the point. That changed your business overnight, right? When you picked up.
And once I got in the stream of the NFL, and all of the wives are talking to each other, and word of mouth referrals, and it changed my life, like literally, because I called somebody back. So
That's freaking awesome, man. That's really good. Is this helping you guys out? Is this good stuff? Appreciate that. This is the kind of stuff that would have helped me big time when I was getting my business started way back when rocks were soft and dinosaurs were on the planet. Let's do this really quick. Appreciate you guys sharing all these things. We're going to shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about upselling. I want to talk about being able to go a little bit more wide with our customers, right? We're talking about getting all these customers, and sometimes to grow, you don't always have to just keep getting customers. I think that sometimes we trap. Now, I'm not saying to go too wide with your business either. You got to know what you're trying to do, and if you're doing mowing and landscaping and then power washing, that might make sense. Maybe power washing doesn't make sense. So there's a balance here. But what I want to talk about is upselling, and who out here is a natural-born salesman? Who likes to sell and talk to people, raise those hands? There's a couple of you guys, yeah. It's about 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10 out of people out there in society. Again, this is 2 hands, you still kind of one person, sir. Thank you. It's probably from Ohio. But, I'm kidding. Oh, whatever. Hello, Ohio. But here's the deal. Sell is a 4-letter word for help. So when I was trying to talk to people, I always had this like used car sales, used RV sales guy kind of like idea of that's what the salesperson was. Does anybody kind of relate to that? Right? I'm like, I don't want to sell these people on mulch. They're busy. I don't want to bother them, all this other stuff. I read a bunch of sales books, and I realized that selling is just helping. They have a need, I have a service or a product, I'm going to connect the two, it's going to solve that person's problem. So sell, if you want to write this down, if you remember anything from today, sell is a 4-letter word for help. So I want to talk about how do you guys help customers? How do we cross-sell? How do we upsell? I think it's a really valuable service, right? If you're already doing the mowing, why would you not get the mulch? If you're already doing the mulch, why would you not get the aeration? Which is really funny you brought that up. Who's ever been to your property and you're about to mow and then you notice a bunch of aeration, plugs are all done. And you're like, yeah, we do that service. But you didn't get the work, right? Because they didn't know. Because you never upsold, right? So let's talk about that for a couple quick minutes. I think that could be really helpful. You want to come back and start with Paul?
yeah, upselling and cross-selling. I love a guy named Dan Kennedy. He's a whole old school marketing guru from the 1990s. Like you saw an infomercial for you guys that are older know what I'm talking about. Dan Kennedy was behind that, but you have your current customer and you just upsell and you cross-sell. I mean, that's the name of the game. So I think you need to find out what businesses, what services that you want to upsell and cross-sell, and then it just comes down like what Mike's talking about, marketing, email marketing, talking to them in person, letting them know that you offer those services so the other guy doesn't get that.
Paul, what was your most effective way of cross-selling with your business? With like newsletters and email?
Yeah,
phone
see,
calls?
I don't run high volume, so it was just word of mouth. Like, hey, seasonal flowers, for example. So every spring we put in begonias, and before we, put in begonias down south, I just say, hey, flower season's coming up. What color combo do you want? And then fall comes around. We do pansies. Hey, most of my customers are going to be yellow and purple pansies. Would you like some? And just, kind of word of mouth, and then you just get used to it every year. Hey, Paul, when you put the flowers in.
Right. That's good. That's good. Blake, I'll be up for upselling.
Yeah, first off, I love the help, because that is so huge. Anytime, like earlier in my business, I was doing the same, listening to people selling, and I'm like, oh man, this is what you need to be a good business. And I hated it. Like, I did not like that. Now it's just helping them, helping the lawn with aeration and other services. So at the beginning of the year, sending out a letter just with all of our services so they know straight up, or anytime we get a new customer, letting them know just then and there the services we offer. And then while we're on the properties, most of the time it's like, hey, do you do this service? And then it's walking through, oh yeah, we also offer core aeration, mulch, and then just going down the line. But like you said, it happens still to this day, so obviously I need to do a better job as well. We all do. You show up to the yard and it's already aerated. I'm like, that is my fault. It's my fault that they didn't know I offered that service, and same with all of us. So you just have to find a way to communicate the services you offer to your current customers.
That's solid. That's solid. Mike, what do you got, brother?
In terms of sales, I think the biggest thing that all of us need to focus on is that the reason you aren't selling is because you haven't sold yourself on your own products and services, and you don't actually believe in it enough to sell it to anyone else.
That's a mic drop. That's a mic drop.
And so I think that's the number one thing. If you struggle with charging someone $500 for a property cleanup, and you're like, man, I don't know how anyone would buy this, you need to sell yourself on it first and convince yourself first. Because if you don't, you'll never, ever be able to sell anybody else. Because when you actually believe that you're the best option for them in their yard maintenance or their landscaping job, you will sell from a point of conviction instead of any sort of sales tactic that you read in a book. And it'll come from the place of, if I do not convince Brian to get this wall project installed by me, I've failed him. And because I care about Brian, I have the conviction that he must buy from me, otherwise I have let him down. And when you sell from that point of view, you will never walk away from a sale with the expectation that I could have done better on that. Because you will leave everything on the court to make sure that sale goes through. You will not need any sort of tactic, say this affirmation, wear this, rub this lucky penny. It'll be a matter of, I am selling this because I care about the customer, and if I don't, I'm letting them down.
And here's the thing, if we're helping people, we are advising them. And if they go with somebody who's inferior, then they're going to get an inferior product or service. So like you just said, why would we let them go with somebody else? So you're like, well, I don't want to bug you. Well, we're helping them. I'm going to bug you to make sure you get a great product or a great service, because I believe in what I do. Do you guys work hard? Do you guys believe in what you do? Come on, raise those hands. Heck yeah. You guys work way too hard to be giving it away for free.
And keep in mind, the reason you might, when I said that, and even when he said that there, and it's like, do you believe in, the reason you actually probably don't is because you're not the target customer. No one in here would hire someone else to mow their lawn or build a patio. The reason is because you're able-bodied, and the average age in here is probably around 35 to 40. And so because of that, we don't value time the same way that a 70-year-old does that has multiple millions of dollars worth of net worth. They value time way more than us. So spending the weekend mowing a lawn for us, not a big deal. For them, that is the only asset that they cannot buy more of, and that's time. So remember, you're not the target market. Think in terms of a 67-year-old that has 4 houses, and you saving them 2 hours is that extra 2 hours them on the golf course, or them closing a $4 million deal with real estate, or them spending time with their grandkids, which is the only thing they want to do at that age.
That's huge.
That is so good. Is this helping you guys out? This is great. I'm going to answer questions for a second. We're going to do a Q&A at the end. I got you, brother. I'm going to come back to you first, though. We have about 23 more minutes. You guys doing good? You guys having fun? The reason I keep getting up and down is because I ran a 5K yesterday. Anybody else run a 5K yesterday? Literally nobody in the room. One this morning. Chris, come up really quick. I'm going to give you a $20 gift card. Give a round of applause. There you go, brother. That can go towards your chiropractic fees.
Brian's only stretching because now he knows he has a second kid on the way, and he knows he's going to be running around a lot.
Dude, I literally sat down and ate a hot dog in the concourse deal yesterday afternoon, and I almost thought I couldn't get up. I'm like, it's happening. I'm getting old. Don't laugh if you're young. It'll happen to you too. All right, I have so much more empathy as I get older. It's funny. So, all right, really quick, we're going to keep it going because we want to wrap up with 15-minute Q&A. We've got 22 minutes left on whatever this thing tells us to do. It's kind of like a suggestion though, so we'll do whatever we want, right? Like the inmates are in charge of the prison. Let me do this really quick. I want to talk about canceling customers and like not getting stuck in your business. I'm having a lot of conversations here with folks that are raising prices and a couple people are falling off and they're like freaking out. But we all do when we first start doing that kind of stuff. But then they realize it was one of the best decisions they ever made. So I want to shift gears a little bit here for just a quick second and talk about the mindset of it's okay to prune. It's okay to cancel some customers. Give me some good stories that you guys have or some personal examples of raising your rates, canceling some customers, and focusing your business and really tightening up the ship as maybe the recession is around the corner or something like that. And we want to cut the fat, right? And that also means cut the cheap customers out. That's okay. We're a business. It's not a charity business. I am a for-profit business, just so you guys know. I'm not a philanthropist. Okay? There you go. There you go. See, Ohio, they get it, you know? Smart people, all right? Back at Ohio, they're smart people. So, Mike, let me talk about...
We know why you're wearing a red shirt.
That's why... Oh, wait. Come on, I'm a Buckeyes fan. They're the best football team in the league.
That's right.
Soccer people, right? Like, I know nothing about sports. All right, so really quick, let's keep it going. Liz, I love you. I gotta get rich because, like, I'm mentally deficient, so what are you gonna do? But, all right, Mike, let's talk about it really quick. What have you seen out there of people getting nervous about canceling customers or freaking out or even raising rates? Because I think a lot of us need to do that.
Yeah, like I challenge you to ask anybody that has raised rates and they regret it. I have yet to meet anyone that does that. And so I'd recommend everyone raise their rates. Again, the reason we usually don't is either A, we think people are going to leave, or B, we've created emotional relationships with these customers and we don't want to offend them. And ultimately, the best thing you can do for a customer is stay in business. Because a high net worth individual, again, that has multiple millions of dollars in net worth, has a home that is the majority of their net worth, and doesn't want to have to spend any time doing lawn care, the worst thing that can happen to them is that every single spring they have to find a new landscaper. So the best thing that you can do for them is charge a price that gives you a sustainable profit margin that you're able to stay in business. Because guess what? This industry has like a 2 to 3 year turnover. And most high net worth individuals would rather pay a higher price for a good product that sticks around instead of them having to find a new guy because they don't show up every single spring. So I just challenge you, try to find someone that has raised their price and they're like, oh man, that was the worst thing for my business. All right, think about it from this perspective. You make $10,000 per month in revenue. All right, everyone follow me? We're gonna fire off some more numbers. $10,000 per month in monthly revenue, and you raise your prices by 20%. All right, so we're gonna go from $10,000 to $12,000 per month in revenue. Now, let's assume that prior to this price increase, you were running a 20% profit margin business. All right, so how much in profit we had? We would have had $2,000 in profit. If we raise our prices by 20%, that is what, $8 on a $40 mow? Everyone following? If we raise our prices by 20%, you just doubled your profits. Because guess what? Your expenses are still $8,000, but now your revenue is $12,000. And now you're running a 33% margin business. The asset value you create in your business, the enterprise value, is far greater than when you had 20% margin. So raising your prices is the #1 lever that we all have in our businesses, and yet we're freaked out of our mind to use it, and it's the #1 thing that will change your business and turn it into being profitable.
Solid.
Blake, what do you got?
That's huge. Yeah, in terms of cutting down the route, we were driving about 20 minutes to probably 8 or 9 yards. And I did what you said. I had an emotional relationship, you know, in my mind with these customers. We love our customers, if you will, right? And I just kept doing it. Springtime rolls around, we're going out, and those 20-minute drives turn into 40, 45-minute, 50-minute drives, stopping at the gas station. You guys know the whole deal. And I just had to cut it off. And it was the best thing I ever did, because then we just slimmed it down and just stayed in our area and only picked up customers. And that's our new service area. So even though it's scary, even though, you know, we're all scared to take that lead, just honing in and just making up. You just have to make it up, the service area. You know, I always think it was this magical formula. It's just, no, this is our area. If you're outside of it, you know, we'll refer you to somebody else.
Yeah, good. Are you done, Blake?
I'm done.
So, Brian, I think this is actually a blessing that what happened with COVID and inflation and things like that, post that, it's very common now, as we know, that folks are raising their prices. Before that, there was companies that were going into the spring and they weren't raising their prices from the year prior, which is stunning to me, because I always use the example of Wendy's. When I was in high school, the junior bacon cheeseburger was 99 cents, you know, when you're on that high school budget. Well, then I remember one time I went in and it was $1.09. I was like, what in the world? But it was incremental. And then it was $1.19, then $1.29. Maybe they raised by 10 cents every time. It keeps going up and up and then up. Next thing you know, I go in there, it's like $1.79 for a junior bacon cheeseburger. But what Wendy's does, or Chick-fil-A or any place, is they incrementally raise their rate. But they do it all the time, consistently. It wasn't like they just went from $1 to $2 every 10 years. They're always raising the rates. So I think it's a good habit at the minimum, every spring going into the new season, at least once a year raising your prices. And so now what's happening is I think everyone raised the rates this year. They have to do it again next spring, in my opinion, and make that just a part of the rhythm of your business. And my boy Matt LaMarche, shout out to Payjack, he taught us this. He's like, you got to train your customers if you're going to raise your rates every year. Like, they're going to expect it. Oh, Brian's going to send me the price adjustment letter, the price increase letter, like, that they're going to know you're going to send it to them going into the start of every season.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. I mean, who's out there by a show of hands? Who's realized gas costs more money? Right? Gas costs more money, right? Let me ask you this: food and groceries cost more money, right? Child services like babysitters and all that stuff. Lumber. I mean, everything costs more money, and if you have not raised your rates 10, 15, 20, 30% in the last year or two, you are going backwards. You're going backwards. Like, imagine, I'm not a pilot or anything like that, but if a plane is flying and it's going 200 miles an hour this way, and there's technical terms for all this stuff, and the wind's going this way at 250 miles an hour, how fast is that airplane going? Airspeeding ground.
Is it really?
Backwards. It's going backwards. Well, I'm giving it all I got. Backwards. Backwards. Does that help out visually? So don't be afraid to raise your rates 8, 10, 12, 20, 30%. Okay, so anybody tells you that inflation 8.6%. Well, look at the gas pump, it's up 100%. Look at the food, it's up 30%. Look at lumber costs, it's up 4,000%. Right? And then you guys are like, Mary, I gotta raise it $2. Right? Be bold, be confident. Let's go. Let's rock and roll with this and let's make some money.
The word I like to use too, Brian, is the word absorb. Like we talked about confidence, just gotta let your customers know, I have to absorb all these costs that we have, and we're doing that by raising our prices, and that's very reasonable for them to understand.
100%. If you get pushback, just professionally explain, my costs are up. I'm not making any more money. Oh, okay, honey, no problem. Look, I just had a leaf cleanup and snow blow came back. It was nothing crazy, like $300 for a leaf cleanup, small yard, and a couple hundred or $700 for the snow. It's just for both, like, no, it's broken out. She's like, oh, okay, no problem, I just want to understand. Like Mike says, be confident about what you're offering, and sometimes you just need to explain, good customer service, Blake, explain for 30 seconds, slow down to speed up. All right, really quick, we're going to wrap this up with the couple topics that we're going to share about, and we're going to get into the Q&A. So if you got a question, start thinking it, and then we're going to have somebody with a microphone walking around. So John, I'm going to cue you up for just a quick second. My last question for you guys. all these great ideas presented here in 50 minutes. We could talk all day about this stuff, right? We got to execute, right? Knowledge is one thing, knowledge and action is power, right? So give me your best tip for these guys to execute. What can they do to go back on Monday and start implementing some of these things, right? To start growing. Paul, let's talk about
I'll take one out of Caleb Allman's playbook. He shared this morning. It's got to be little bite-sized wins. You can't go back with this huge blueprint. We're going to change everything. Just pick one little thing. We're going to get on top of that, and then you get it, and then you have momentum, and you make another little bite-sized one. You accomplish that one.
Perfect. Blake, you got it.
Yeah, I love that. Like, make a list of these things. Now, hey, we have a service area now. You know, last week we didn't have a service area. These little things, just like you said, make these little improvements throughout the year. And if you haven't raised the prices, send out that letter.
There you go.
This is going to be a controversial one. I would shred all the manuals that you picked up this weekend, and I'd print out your balance sheet and your profit and loss statement, and book us an hour with the CPA and start figuring out what those mean. Because if you don't know what a balance sheet is, you don't know what assets and liabilities are, I don't care what you buy out there, your business will fail, unfortunately. So that would be my recommendation.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, it's the truth. What gets measured, gets improved. We've all heard that one. So how do you know if your business is up or down, left or right, if you're not taking a quick glance at it? All right. So really quick, let's go into the Q&A session. Is this helping you guys out? Give me a round of applause. Is this helping you out? Hi. So we're doing questions. The gentleman in the green had a question. Do we have another mic out here?
We got one over here.
Well, I don't know what that is. Where are you at, brother?
We got a question over
John,
here.
over here. Come over here real quick. Oh, I promise this is the first question.
I will be back, Colin.
Mr. Green, if you want to stand up, we're going to get a quick introduction for you, a quick question.
Money.
Money.
For question.
Think of the question.
Hey guys, I'm Charles. One of our prior experts.
Think of the question.
One of the things these guys did not mention that should be done is whether you guys have a CRM or if you're still putting out your invoices, put your services on there. So that way when they receive it, it will stand in front of them every month.
That's awesome.
I've gotten more business by doing that.
Yeah, if you guys are doing your invoices every month, include a quick paragraph. Now scheduling, all caps, whatever, aeration, deferred, insecticide, drug control, whatever, fall pruning, fall cutbacks. Always be selling, always be upselling the next thing. Great statement. Who's got a question?
I got a question over here. Hang on 1 second. I gotta run over there. I'm a big guy. I'm not gonna run anymore.
I'm not running anymore either, John. Don't worry about it. I ran for my lifetime.
All right, we got a question from Colin over here.
Hi, Colin.
How you doing?
Good. What's your question, brother?
Organization-wise and building a team, what is the most important factors to go from around 200, where you can kind of do it 1 or 2 people, up to 500 plus, where you can start to build some sort of team around you?
Good question. The question was, what is the biggest tip that you can have organization-wise going from 200 to $500,000 plus? Is that the question? Yes, sir. Mike, you got a bigger business. You want to handle that first? And I'll go to Blake.
Oh yeah, if you're going for 200,000, typically you're going to have one person with you, maybe two. And if you're going to 500,000, what starts to happen is you have unmanaged labor, which means people are working without your supervision. And so in order for that to happen, you either have to have really great grade A talent all the time that you can always trust, which obviously you want to trust the people, but that's less likely to happen than you creating a system yourself and actually having something that's predictable. And so I'd be creating a system, we call it P for P or pay for performance, where people get a percentage of the labor revenue they earn for you every day. Because that way, when they're not being watched by me every single day, I know that they're pushing that mower, I know that they're hustling, because the harder they work, the more money they make. It seems like a pretty fair system to me. So I'd rather create a system instead of the business being dependent on me as a personality. And it's typically the adjustment that has failed from 200,000 to 500,000 is the inability to switch from a personality dependent business into a system-centric business. And so I'd be focusing on that.
Yeah, I love what you said there. A friend of mine, Josh Ladner, super successful in the service industry. He talks about the 5 levels of business. This might be a good one to write down. But number 1, you're the technician, you're out there. Level 2, you got a couple crews. Level 3, you're the sales guy for a couple crews. Level 4, you got an office, maybe some admins and systems. Level 5, you're like a real, true entrepreneur. You can walk away and have mailbox money, that kind of a story. So systems and processes to go up the ladder. I love it. All right, great job. I got the thumbs up all the way from the wall, so that's how you know it's working. All right, who's got another question?
We got one right here, buddy.
Where you at, John?
Way over here.
I got Speak a little bit louder into the mic for me, if you guys don't mind.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Fantastic being here in front of some incredible speakers. I have a question. What's one thing you would tell your younger self about business?
One more time, what was the question, Johnny?
What would you tell your younger self
That's a good
about
question.
business?
That's a great question. I feel like it's like that Tom Brady quote where he almost cried, right? You guys see that one on Instagram?
I left.
Yeah, I've done that one too.
My bookkeeper, Joey Carley, has a man crush on Mike Andes. He found out that you're going to be on this stage. He's like, you're going to meet Mike Andes? I was like, yeah.
How is this not hard not to look at this guy, man? I mean, good looking dude. Look at that fella.
But I bring that up to emphasize, and Mike, you mentioned this, when I started out, I didn't know how to truly understand a profit and loss statement, a statement of cash flows, a balance sheet. Those are foreign to me. So as quickly as you can understand the financial component of your business, that is so important to your long-term success.
Blake?
I would figure out what I like to do and be consistent and be confident in doing that. That's a little higher level, but consistency is key.
There you go.
Something we've talked about a lot with our franchisees this past couple of years is higher lows and lower highs. Most of us will only lose the game of business because we quit during a low. And whether it be depression or just a really tough spring rush or a couple of employees walking off the job, the same day that you get 2 customers swearing at you in the face, the same day that your checks bounce on payroll. When that happens, that's a low. And I think if I was to talk to my younger self, I'd say have lower highs and higher lows, which means when it's really bad, it's not as bad as you think. And when you're really, everything's great and you just sold this $40,000 job and there's a bunch of money in the bank, bring yourself down a bit and just live a little bit more level of a life. And some people will call you boring, but boring business owners and boring entrepreneurs typically make billions of dollars. And so if that's your goal, stick with that.
I think we're going to like the audio or something later, and just have like a Mike Andes playlist. You know what I mean? Like, just nugget. Yeah, okay, we're working on that. We got you. Check in the mail. Next question we got, Hunter.
All right, we got Dakota here.
The question is, if you get that customer that likes to recycle the landscape or your lawn care guy, do you even bother picking them up, or do you just like let them find another service? Like, how would you go about that?
One more time, what was the beginning part of the question?
Like the recycling contractor, like they give a new contractor every year.
Oh, they keep going with contractors?
Yeah.
And then they call you?
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead, you got it.
Can I give an analogy? All right, so if there's a really hot girl that you've had a crush on, all right, and she's gone through a bunch of guys, and now you've had your eyes on her the whole time, and now she comes to you, are you just going to be like, oh no, you've ditched all these other guys, or are you just going to step up to the level where she doesn't ever want to ditch you, and she wants to keep you forever?
Well, I guess it's never too low, I guess.
That's what we got to do with customers, right?
Are you married? Are you single?
Don't worry, I'm single, so it hasn't worked for me, bro.
Dude, that's so good. You can go some ways with that. I'm not going to put my foot in the mouth, so. That is good. People want what they can't have, right? Oh, that's good stuff. You guys enjoy this? Good stuff? Hey, how much would you guys love to have this event go on the same time again next year? Give me a round of applause. Job security.
Got one more.
We got 2 minutes. I got 2 questions.
Hey guys, how you doing? I appreciate you guys. Question for Mike. What way did you decide to go the way of the franchise way rather than expanding your own operation on Washington?
Okay, I don't want to get promotional. If you want to talk about franchising, Lee is in the back. But ultimately for me, like my goal is to change the level of professionalism in the landscaping industry. That's why Augusta Lawn Care exists. And so I had been making content for a long time on social media and landscape business course, but people just don't listen. Honestly, I can talk about balance sheets and financial statements in front of you all day long, and 1% of you will do it, and it's just an unfortunate case. So when I have them as franchisees, they know that everything I say is in their best interest because my name and their name are the same. And so I feel like I have a better success rate of getting implementation. And so if we can do that 1,000 times in the US, which is the goal, then people will start to listen because you'll start competing with us. And that's just the honest facts. So, and one quick thing I want to say, just in case I don't get the microphone again, I think it's really important that everyone is here and we are educating ourselves and learning and everything. And I think it says a lot when you even see someone who is successful. And I just want to give a rose out to Corey Ballard, who's here and is millions and millions of dollars in revenue, sold businesses, could probably put circles around everyone here and still sits here and learns from people that are far below him. And I just want to shout out to him, and that's what we all need to do in this industry to become better.
That's good stuff. Corey is the GOAT, and you know what? Shoot DMs, he goes back to everybody still. He doesn't have to do any of this stuff. He's made his money, but he's a big server, man. I love it. Great job. We got one more. Really quick.
Last question here.
Where we at, brother?
All right, what's up, Ryan? I got a quick question. Obviously, as Mike said before, your mowers are not going to be the biggest source of income, blah, blah, blah. Then, you know, there's websites where you get stuff for your mowers, like Detach or Detach.com, Brian's 10, you know. If there was a website where you could probably get some, let's say, plug-and-play stuff for an entrepreneur, an entrepreneur, if you will, what type of website would you tell people to go to? And you are going to go to?
I would say MikeLadies.com. That's a great question. Man, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of great content out there. There's a lot of garbage content out there. Can we just call spade a spade? Find somebody who has the business that you want and the lifestyle that you want. I'm just telling you, like, that's straight up. That's what I would look for. And see if they have fruit on the tree. It's really easy to have a fancy website, be slick, or be a guru, or a social media person. I'm in it, and sometimes I'm kind of turned off by it. Can I say that out loud? Is that okay to admit? Like, not everybody I'm taking advice from. There's a reason, I'm not going to get heavy, but there's a reason that I got these guys on the panel to help pour into you guys. I take this very serious. I couldn't invite anybody up here. It was our show. I picked these three guys. So if you want to know Troy, who to listen to, you guys. Alright, to help out? Alright, let's let up a little bit. Here's what we're going to do. I think we're done, right? You good, brother? Was this good for you guys? You guys have some
Can I hand this out?
We got two quick $20 gift cards, and then we're going to do something really special that you guys are all
Go for it.
and you guys can stick around for a quick second. So Blake,
Anybody first year of business?
first year in business. You know, are you getting great? So let me say that. Round of applause for this young man.
I don't really have a question.
You don't have a question? Who was born on June 10th? Right here.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, well, that's my birthday. Just trying to make stuff up. There you go. All right, you guys want to do something really cool? I don't think we've ever done this before, and hopefully we don't collapse this thing or anything like that. But Quinn wanted to take a cool photo. This is the first time we've done Energize. And if we want to do it again next year, we got to kind of show the marketing team that this thing was a success. Pretty sure it's standing room only. So I'm pretty sure it's a success. And we cannot be more thankful that you guys came to join us for an hour. Your time is valuable. Our time is your time. I'm telling you guys straight out. So here's what I want to do really quick. If you guys want to do a mad dash to the stage, we're going to take a huge group photo. Wait, well, let's do it quick. So literally, every one of y'all, nobody leaving. Let's go. Get on stage.
Hold on. Don't jump out.
Great show. It was, I think, everybody got their money's worth just with this event alone. You guys talked about how important it was to educate, and for you, you said you wanted to kind of revolutionize and kind of hammer home, people do need to be doing different things, and this is what you guys need to do. How important is it for Equip Expo to have events like this, and kind of that they're doing it and nobody else really is right now?
Well, the thing is, doing the same thing over and over and expecting any different result in your business is the definition of insanity. So coming to Equip Expo, meeting other people that are above you, below you, seeing what's working, what's not working, is the perfect environment to be able to make change in your business. I think everyone showing up here has that common goal, and that is to improve and make themselves better. So coming to a place like Equip Expo is just a game changer for any business owner, in my opinion.